You're famous, I think.
Yeah, something like that. All right, guys, let's do a show about that game we just
right
watched.
Now?
Yeah, right now. It's going to be live any second here. What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Winners Lounge. Let's go. Let's go. Nuggets get the win, 113-104. That sounds closer than it was. This game went exactly like we thought.
Exactly.
This game went exactly like it thought. We should have pre-recorded the Winners Lounge. We
did.
might have gotten it all 100% right. It would have been fun to at least try. There actually was some very entertaining stuff in this game, though. The Nuggets always give us something to have fun about. Tonight, for sure they did. Gonna break it down with all of the fellas, including Brendan Vogt.
Man, football Sunday with the Washington Wizards. What a treat. What a treat.
Over here, I got D-Line Co.
I know, like, Aaron Gordon didn't eat. He nibbled. But he had the opportunity to eat.
He did nibble.
He had a lot of shots. He didn't make a lot of them. But you know what? All the Nuggets are fine.
All the Nuggets are fine. They did what they needed to do.
They did exactly.
They did what they needed to do.
Yeah,
man.
no, you know, listen, Bet365 is never ordinary. This game was exquisitely ordinary.
Exquisitely, man. And then over there, the man with the wind in his hair, Harrison Wind.
Well, it wasn't 100 points like I predicted. 42 was an okay effort, though.
Yeah?
I mean, he almost got halfway there. Good effort. I'll take it. He did leave a lot on the table, though.
What do we say, boys? Is it are we giving him credit for it? Is 42 basically 100?
He got his high scoring mark of the season, so that counts.
All right, Kale, put it on.
Let's go.
Put it on the screen. Let's go. We got it.
He also missed
That was
5
a cue.
shots.
That
He
was a
missed 2
verbal
free throws
cue.
as well. I mean,
There it is. We got it. 42.
he
We
did leave
it.
a lot on the table.
There it is, just like Will. Just like him, man. Not
Oh,
since
man.
Will.
I'm not going to lie. When he came out and had, what was it, 18 in the first quarter? 16 in the first quarter?
Yeah.
I was like, I could see it.
Could see it.
I could see it happening.
All right, let's get into the details of this game. Fast breakdown coming to you. Malone, tech right away. If you guys recall how this game started, is there something to it? Malone got a tech in the first 2 minutes because they missed an easy call, I thought, on Jokic. He was like, we're not doing this today, refs. We're not doing it. Gets a tech right out of the gate. And then Jokic scored on the next 8 possessions. They were going to single cover tonight. It was a choice they made. They have Daniel Gafford and Marvin Bagley. Who would you say did better on him tonight? What did you guys say? Who was the tougher matchup tonight for Jokic in single coverage?
It's tough.
It's a really tough
question.
one. Real Sophie's choice over here.
I don't even know if I can answer it.
Honestly, it's been a while since Jokic's been single covered to the degree he was tonight, and he just went to town on the block, and he reminded you that, oh yes, he could score every time if he wanted. It's a Zeke night. We're going to Zeke, fellas, off the bench. Murray hit a 3 at the buzzer. Nuggets up 33-24 at the end of 1. Zeke, 3 fouls in a row.
That was tough.
In a row, 3 fouls. 2 on illegal screens. 1, to be fair, I thought was a bad call. 1, I thought he got a bad whistle on. Jokic has to come back in at the 9-minute mark, and I don't know if you guys caught it. Nuggets only up 2 at that point, too. The bench did not do well. Did you see Jokic's face when he got up to check in? There was a little bit of
How is this possible?
are you guys kidding me? I just got here. I just got to the bench. You want me to go back out there? Jokic dominant on both ends of the court once again. Nuggets up 52-42. Third quarter, MPJ and Murray threes to open the half. The Nuggets kept getting up 20 or 18 or something. They kept doing it. But the Nuggets were missing free throws, guys. In that third quarter, free throws were one of the things that made this game not a total blowout, only a semi-blowout. Jokic kept scoring, and in the end of the third quarter, back to Zeke. No, thank you. Michael Malone has seen enough. They were up 15 points. There was 2 minutes to go in the third, and they were playing the Washington Wizards. And Michael Malone said, I'm sorry, Zeke. You sucked in the first half. We are not going back to you. So he went to DeAndre, and you know what DeAndre did?
Did just as poorly.
The same
The
thing.
same exact thing. He picked up fouls. Nuggets blew their lead again, even with that group. P-Watt did have 2 incredible blocks, though, in that fourth quarter. Andy had a nice and none. He got the and one, but missed it. Missed the free throw. Bench was not good again in that stretch. So Yoke comes back in, up 9, and made it look really, really easy. He didn't score as much as we would have liked.
He looked like he was trying not to score after halftime.
He looks like he's annoyed. He looks like he's like, are you guys kidding me? Like, I just gave you 38 points in 3 quarters of not missing a shot, and I have to come back in and close this thing because it's back to a 9-point lead?
I think we need to start calling the bench stints, just referring to them as a stench.
Well, there was one point in the fourth quarter where it was the bench, as in it was DeAndre and the other 4 starters.
Yeah, a bench.
Couldn't get it done.
A bench stretch is called a stench.
Yoke goes at plus 20, though. He comes back in, and they put this game away. It was never close.
No.
It was never interesting in terms of who was going to win or lose. You kind of knew that the Nuggets were going to win the whole time, but some interesting stuff happened along the way. Wind, what's your big takeaway?
The Nuggets took care of business against the Wizards, and they've taken care of business against bad teams all year. Last season, they were 24-11 against teams under 500. This season, they're 19-3. That's an important marker, I think, for just a mature team, a team that's won a championship and just knows what it needs to do throughout a regular season. I remember last year, the year before, these games, sometimes they were close and sometimes Denver was dropping them. Denver has had a propensity in the past to lose games against bad teams, overlook them, fall into trap games, just not take those opponents seriously. And this season, it hasn't been like a playoff level effort against those teams, but in the end, they've taken care of business against mostly all of them. So I look at it as a sign of just the Nuggets, they're a mature team now, they're a championship team, and they just know how to take care of business against teams like the Wizards. And that wasn't always the case in years past.
I think that's a fair one. Although the only thing is would you say the Nuggets played well tonight?
They played as well as they needed to. I think they go into these games knowing they just have to win, and I think it's silly to ask for them to give a Boston-level effort every single night of the regular season. It's impossible, and it's also probably not a smart thing to do.
It would be terrible.
And I think you just have to look at how Nikola Jokic approaches the regular season and kind of lean on that.
I actually think effort-wise, it was fine because I don't think this was bad effort.
No.
Like Denver gave medium effort, and that was like you said, it wasn't nothing.
Yeah.
D-line?
I mean, to me, it's big fella, Jokic. Like a night like tonight, you just this feels like the page has turned for Nikola Jokic. He was single covered, and he always will go through and punish that. But he really looks as though he's gotten out of that early stage. We don't hopefully ever have to talk about it again. He's just doing what is required. He's hustling. We were noting he was running up and down the court. He was giving effort the entire time. There wasn't any time where you're like, come on, Yoke. The whole team was. I mean, the real lack of effort came on defense, I feel like, for the Denver Nuggets. But again, you only need to expend the amount of effort you need to expend against a team like that. It is nice to see the Nuggets just do exactly what you think they're going to do. They just go out, they methodically take the team apart, and it all starts with Jokic, and it's great to see.
Yeah. Big fella's a very good one. I noticed the same thing.
Did you?
I thought he was good tonight.
I mean, there's small things, but the big takeaway is the big guy being awesome.
Yeah, starters came out with the responsible energy coming after a Boston
I like
game.
it. Responsible.
And it's so actually they took one away from Murray. They gave one to Mike. So final breakdown here: 4 starters had at least a steal or a block. 3 starters had one of each. 4 starters had at least 3 stocks, and 3 of them had at least 4. 2 steals and 2 blocks for Michael Porter Jr., 1 and 3 for AG, 1 and 3 for Yoke, 3 steals, no blocks for KCP. Jamal finishes with 0 and 0. Those 2 columns right there, to me, if you just showed me just those 2 columns from the starters and said they're playing the Wizards, I'd say, okay, they won that game.
Yeah.
They won that game.
Yeah. If you would have told me they were playing the Wizards, I would have said they won
That's
that game.
point.
Yeah.
You could have started there.
I think we all did say
there.
that looking at the
But
game.
you're right
Yeah.
with the stocks.
It sounded good when I said it, but you guys are right.
You are right, though. 4 stocks for AG, 4 for Porter, 4 for Jokic, 3 for KCP. None for Murray, but I mean, whatever. And then, also 3 for Paywat. So everybody gets 3 stocks tonight, which is pretty cool. My big takeaway, we've been kind of joking about it. The Wizards Warriors suck worse than I
They're
thought.
so bad, dude.
Because they have names that you recognize, you know. Unlike some of these teams that it's like, who are they playing? Like the Spurs. There's guys on the Spurs that'll play every now and then that I'm like, who is that? You know? Even Detroit has had one or two guys where I'm like, who are those guys? I know all these guys.
Yeah.
Why do they suck this bad?
Well, you know them as bad players.
Well, Kyle Kuzma I know is like part of the best core in the history of the NBA.
Best young core.
He was honestly like, I mean, he would be the best player on a lot of teams.
Truthfully, like Kyle Kuzma does
we were
not.
told.
Truthfully, Kyle Kuzma does not suck as much as it's fun to talk about him sucking. But
He kind of does though.
But the problem is he's the best guy on their team. That's a bad
good
team.
He had 17 points, and I feel like all 17 came in the last 2 minutes. He had like back-to-back
brutal.
threes. He had some plays.
I don't remember one.
I think he
honestly.
had like 6 points going into the last 3 minutes of this game. No, that's honestly my takeaway is they suck. They suck so bad that I have to ask you guys. We've seen San Antonio. We've seen Detroit. We've seen Washington.
This is tough.
We've even seen Charlotte, who I'm going to throw in this grouping.
Yeah.
I honestly think the Wizards might be worse than all of them. I know
I
maybe
agree
it's
with
just
this.
maybe this is recency bias, but when you see that their best strategic defensive choice tonight was to put Daniel Gafford on him, the Nuggets won by 9 tonight because that's the number that they chose to win by.
Yeah.
That team, like, I don't know that they're worse than the Spurs or worse than the Pistons.
The problem with the Wizards is that they're at the end of the line. Those other teams are like at the beginning of something. They're like
you're right.
near
Yeah,
a rebuild, and this is like this is as good as the Wizards ever got.
With
That's
this
the
group, right? Yeah,
That's so sad. Like they are staring a rebuild in the face, and they are as bad as teams that have already started a rebuild, and they have nothing going for them.
The thing about the Wizards for me is they're by far the least serious.
Yeah.
So you could argue they have more talent than some of those other teams, maybe, but they're
You're
less,
right. That's what it is.
They're less serious, and we talked about this together watching the game off the air, and even pregame show, kind of looking at 30th ranked defense in the NBA. Like Wes Unseld Jr. was a defensive architect in Denver. How does it get that bad? Well, you can draw schemes up till the cows come home, but can your players execute them? Do you trust them to execute them? Why do you think Jokic was single covered tonight? A strong guess is probably, can they even run a double team? Not joking, can they?
I would have paid so much money for a mic'd up, unfiltered Wizards behind the scenes like pass tonight.
Right.
Just to see what actually goes on in a Wizards timeout. To see what actually goes on in the Wizards locker room at halftime.
I bet it's like silent.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably wouldn't be a very entertaining mic'd up segment.
The other thing that happened is, you know, the Pistons, this went under the radar because, again, it was the Pistons and the Wizards, but they made that trade for Gallinari and Muscala, which were like a service, at least 1.5 serviceable players that they get rid of to send to Detroit. Like, Detroit was embarrassed by their record, and Washington was like, yeah, we don't care, man. Like, we can use these guys, but we'll give you them. We'll just end up playing Bagley. That's fine. Deeply unserious team, and not to be old man on it, on anyone, because I think that there's less tanking than there was, say, 7 years ago when it just felt like half the league was tanking. I think the NBA has nipped that one a little bit, you know, to diminish it. But it is an affront when you see a team like this where you're like, what is the point of the Wizards, man? What is the point of them? Why did they put this team together? Why did they go out there? Because now we have to talk about this game, and all the takes feel so stupid.
But part of it is like there's no like big target in the draft this upcoming draft. There's no Wemby.
Yeah.
There's no guy that everybody's like clamoring to get. So now you just get the, you know, like it's a complete crapshoot, and you get embarrassed.
And at least if you're the Pistons, you got one player, maybe two, that you look at and you say, okay, this can be a guy on a good Pistons team.
Who do you think is the two players he's talking about?
Cade.
Okay.
He's one.
And
Come on, Michael Wilbon.
Because I was sitting here wondering. That was what
Do you know what? I was sitting
oh,
there
and
justice for Michael Wilbon.
right.
no, and
Justice for Mike-
Thompson.
Is that what you
Yeah,
were
he
going
was the
with?
other one I was thinking.
Thompson.
I love him, although they've kind of soured on him for some reason. I love him, but
Yeah. If you're the Spurs, you have
Wemby?
definitely one player.
yeah, definitely.
I like Devin Vassell. if you're the Wizards,
You got nothing.
You have Koulibaly, who
Yeah.
I think best case scenario is like your fourth best player on a good team.
Yeah.
It's
That's what
rough,
I mean.
man.
Like, they're not building towards anything right now.
Yeah.
Like,
And
nothing.
Avdia, who might be useful alongside other savvy players.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he knows how to play basketball, but putting him next to guys like Kuzma and Poole is just futile.
I'm not saying this as it's a great thing. I'm not trying to. Sometimes we make these comments on Jokic and it sounds like we're glorifying a benign trait. Jokic did not seem to enjoy himself tonight. He didn't seem miserable. But there are players that go out, they circle this one on the calendar, and they're
relate, man.
dancing and they're doing stuff like Jokic just kind of goes out there, went 15 of 20, rebounded half of his misses. What was he, 17 of 20? You were saying the other day when they played Wizards?
Yeah.
17 of 20. Tonight he was 15 of 20, like basically the same shooting.
He
same
also
thing.
had 0 turnovers tonight.
Oh, nice.
I mean, how was he going to turn it over?
I know. I would have been pretty pissed off if he had one. That would have been unacceptable.
Nonetheless, there is some stuff that we should talk about with Jokic because I do think there was some stuff in here that I found pretty compelling to talk about. Even though it was against a terrible team, it revealed a couple things that I think will percolate in the playoffs. We'll get to that on the other side.
Guys, if you're going to Vegas, there's only one place to stay. It's Circa Resort and Casino. It's Vegas's first ever adults-only casino. They've got the world's largest sports book. They got a gorgeous casino. All the tables, all the slots
It's
you could
surprising that
want.
no other casino has done adults only. But they're right. You have to show your ID to get in there.
Yes.
'cause it's
It also
adults
keeps
only.
it also keeps away the riffraff.
The kids,
Well, the kids, no, the
General
you have to show your ID to get in.
people that don't have an ID.
That just gives them an opportunity to shoo away the riffraff.
The riffraff.
Gotcha.
They've got Stadium Swim. They've got a beautiful resort there. They have a great sports book, Circa Sports and Casino. You can get 20% off your stay with the code DNVR20. You can also download the Circa Sports app. You can bet with Circa Sports as well. Download their app at circasports.com. Available in Colorado. Download the app today. And if you're going to Vegas, gotta stay at Circa. It's where we stay. It's where you should stay. Beautiful rooms, sparkling
I got
casino.
2 dates you should go coming up. Two
Yep.
dates you should go to Circa. You probably know what they are. Super Bowl and March Madness, both right around the corner. Honestly, a good, inexpensive little getaway. You go there for March Madness and you just sit at the sports book where it's like, you look like you're in that movie Minority Report, where they're everything's a screen.
Yeah, man.
That's what it feels like to be there. Good time.
Victory burger in
Except
one
for
hand.
nobody's trying to get you for a
Ticket
false.
in the other hand. Nothing better.
Maybe you should take that trip to Circa because you're not trying to be in your home right now because you're getting new flooring installed because your friends at Empire Today,
Wow.
the Empire Today, the famous Empire Today, wants to get the best new flooring in your home. Don't bother with the copycats, the stuff they're advertising. Empire Today, they wouldn't even dare carry it. You want the best stuff? And look, we know you want a good deal on the best stuff, but that's where we come in here. EmpireToday.com/DNVR. You'll get $350 off new floors. That's a lot of money.
Yeah, that's not nothing.
Yeah, so if you're looking to get new floors, obviously you know you want to do it with Empire Today. Now you know you want to do it with EmpireToday.com/DNVR. You get $350 off at Empire Today.
800-588-2300 Empire Today.
There you go. My take on Jokic, he was obviously dominant tonight. People always talk about his scoring. It's really underappreciated how seldom teams guard him to be a scorer, like this. Everybody always talks about make him a scorer. He had 53, remember, against the Suns in the playoffs. More than Shaq ever scored in his entire life in a playoff game. Jokic scored more going down to the block. Jokic is a post scorer. This was one of those games that just reminded you that, oh yeah, when he goes up against an average or below average defender in the post, the reason you send a double team is because you will get absolutely scorched if you try to guard Jokic. The post moves he did tonight were, honest to God, the moves I would do against like 7-year-olds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There were a couple of them where
It was
he
a
just
clinic.
backed him and then went like this,
Yeah.
like without. He was just like, "Are you guys? Come on, man."
And like borderline humiliating.
Yeah.
Too, like not only through strength, but then just through cunning, where waits for Gafford to get up in the air and then just like ducks under. It's like comical. It's just there's nothing more enjoyable than watching Jokic cook a lower IQ center in the NBA. It is just so enjoyable. It's the best.
And on his 20 shot attempts tonight, of course he did not attempt any threes. Why would he? No need to.
I would have yelled at him if he did.
Yeah, like why would he even think about shooting a three today? Like 17 of those shots were the easiest shots you can take in the NBA. Just like literally from 1 foot away, just laying it in.
And you're Jokic.
There were a couple of them, though, that were insanely difficult.
Yes.
Touch off the window.
The one he had off the glass with his right hand. And on those, you just have this appreciation of, like, he hits shots that are so difficult so easily at a level that nobody else does. And it's just beautiful to watch.
The one when he sets up going back to his right hand, but then he brings it over his head, steps through, and goes around again. You know what I mean? The spin cycle.
The footwork is just,
Dude, that's my favorite. I'm like, is anyone else in the league even doing that on anyone?
No.
It's just it's so much fun to watch. And I don't want to get weird with this. It's because it's like we watched him dominate, and he dominated. But it was like jump shots, and he hit them all. And like he might be one of the best shooters, pound for pound, any position in the league. I didn't realize until I watched Jokic as a fan of the modern game how much I love post work. Like I didn't know because it was a dying thing. It wasn't. And watching Jokic, I'm like, when people say that's boring, I'm like, man, just watch the feet. This is awesome.
It's rarely as beautiful as this. I mean,
that's
like,
a good point.
if you watch Hakeem Olajuwon, you would feel that way. Like, Jokic there's such an art to what he's doing. There's a lot of guys, like Rudy Gobert is not enjoyable to watch on the block.
That's a good point. That's a great point, Eric.
Like, Jokic is an absolute artist. And not only that, like we just said before, like, he clowns guys. Like, he just makes them look stupid. Like, they don't know what they're doing. It's unbelievable.
And tonight was also just more confirmation that Nikola Jokic's goal on every offensive possession is to get the best shot possible. 20 times tonight, the best shot was him shooting it in the paint.
Right.
Because that's what the defense was giving him. And so it's just more proof that, like, that's his sole focus every time. He's never tried to get his own points. He's never trying to, like, go out of his way to do anything other than just getting the best shot every time down the floor.
42 points tonight?
Yeah.
42.
Pretty much 100.
Let's
Pretty much
take
100.
a look at his
Rounding
shot
up.
chart.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at his shot chart, you guys.
Look at those two white ones. What is he doing?
Yeah. Well, one of those was the end of a shot clock. He did a 180 with one-handed, like...
Almost went in.
Almost went in. But look at the shot chart, you guys. 7 feet? Like, what? The longest shot he made tonight was 8 feet.
Yeah.
He had all of his makes from 8 feet or in. That shot chart is dominance. That's I'm gonna if you're gonna guard me one-on-one, to your point, I'm gonna get the highest value shot attempts possible. And those post moves, to your point, they didn't all start right there, but some of them he just backed whoever was guarding him to under the basket and then just shot a little jump hook. Some of them he would use some footwork to get them. But they are all just like he got to the spot where the value is the highest and made it.
And there were also, I believe, at least 2 of these that he missed and rebounded and put back in.
And so he had one. We got to go back and look at all of his misses, man, because he had the one where he was falling. You know, time was almost over. That was
really
count.
one of them.
Do we have time to watch 4 shots?
Offensive rebounded a couple of them, like
at least 2.
So
then there was only 1 other or 2 other
5
misses.
shots. 5 shots. Jesus.
And he also got the whistle he deserved tonight. Like he went into the paint a ton, and we've seen that before, where he lives in the paint. He's like 15 of 20, but somehow he doesn't have 40 points because he didn't get to shoot double-digit free throws. Tonight he was 12 of 14. Again, free throws not my favorite thing. They do help you win games though. And we always say, can you imagine if Jokic shot double-digit free throws? Well, yeah, I can. It's 40 points and it's easy. Yeah. And tonight was that.
Yeah. Jamal Murray tonight had his assist game going on. He had 7 assists, 5 rebounds, 19 points, took 23 shots. What was your read on him tonight, Wind?
Well, it's just a little funny that he shot it more than Nikola Jokic did. 23 to 20. That's just...
I feel like he shot it from further away from Jokic, too.
I think he did.
That's just funny. I thought he had some good moments leading the bench as well. He hooked up with DeAndre Jordan on a nice pick and roll. I remember that one. That's about the only possession I remember from the second unit tonight. But he did some good stuff. 7 assists, only 1 turnover. He was fine. 39 minutes.
That's a lot of minutes, man.
It was a lot. Yeah, he had a lot of time with the bench. Yeah, he had a fine night. He had, he rose to the level that was required, and that was.
He also had a couple really nice finishes at the rim.
Definitely.
And I feel like sometimes we underappreciate just Jamal Murray's finishing ability.
It's great, man.
Especially with the left, man. He had a couple just scooping, sweeping left-handed layups that were gorgeous.
Great touch off of the backboard. That
Yeah.
being said, he did miss 16 shots tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah, he missed a lot.
Anecdotally, it felt like he got more shots off when he was with the bench.
Yeah.
I don't have the actual numbers to tell you that's a fact. That's how it felt watching it live. And in that case, I'm okay with it. Obviously, it's better if he hits the shots, but if he's going to be out there with that group, I think he should take shots.
Yeah.
So, yeah, 30% isn't great, but 7 assists, 1 turnover. Ultimately, this is really... Tonight was pretty simple. Starters were more than good enough. Bench wasn't great.
Michael Porter on 8 for 14 shooting. Tonight was the bell curve. Yoke had 42. Porter and Murray had 19. KCP and Aaron Gordon had 11 and 10. It's like perfect distribution from how you expect your shooters to go. But Mike went 8 of 14 tonight, 3 of 7 from 3. It's so funny, man. 3 of 7 from 3 again.
You're like, God, he left them on the board.
I still feel like
43%? Come on, dude.
Murray and Porter, for some reason, I just expect them to make every shot. 19 points, 6 rebounds. What do you want to say about him?
It's another in a line of a really solid performances by MPJ. He's really turned a leaf. Like, he's really coming along to be the guy that you expect him to be every night. It's not like feast or famine like it felt like it's been in times past. Like, he's doing not just scoring, but he's rebounding. He's just, it wasn't a perfect game, but nobody really had a perfect game except for Nikola Jokic, who is a perfect human being. But Michael Porter Jr., he hit the lock. That's good. We enjoy that.
We did enjoy that.
It's just, just solid game from MPJ.
His mid-ranger is on point right now.
That thing is wet as hell.
They've been running that action a lot where he's just coming off that DHO. If he's open, he's shooting that thing for mid-range right now, and he's been on fire from there.
Do you think it would make sense to go to more mid-rangers for MPJ?
I kind of think they are, or it's not that they are. I kind of think he is. I think the
possible.
angle with which he's attacking some of these DHOs and screens, it's not quite as often about springing open for 3. I think he's kind of looking for that angle to take one dribble in. I think one step in from 3 right now, he's 100% confident. So I think it's something that he can do with the angles and how he reads when Jokic looks his way. My big thing for Mike tonight, mid-range was on point. For me, it was defense. 2 steals, 2 blocks. In the first half, he was all over the place, had a good, some great rotations on Daniel Gafford at the rim or to prevent him from getting to the rim. And, it's the Washington Wizards. You're not going to write home about anyone's defense, but I thought Porter brought a lot of energy on that end in what could have been a trap game when he wasn't feeling well.
That's true. This wasn't a trap game for the Nuggets. I mean, they did what they needed to do, so nobody really played trappy. Aaron Gordon, 11 points, 10 rebounds, a double-double, 2 assists, 1 steal, 3 blocks, did a bunch of stuff. 4 of 10. He missed a lot early, though.
He missed a lot. I noticed every single one. I noticed
what was your points you had?
15. He didn't get it. He had enough shots to get it.
He did.
10. Yeah, he missed like an
alley-oop. It was a good bet, but you're wrong.
He should have eaten tonight. He was served, but he couldn't. It was Ryan Gosling refusing to eat his cereal. But he's still like, it's funny when you zero in on a player because you have a certain take or whatever. Like, AG played like a perfectly complimentary game. Like, he really got in there, got rebounds, got out of the way when it was not his turn, hung out in the dunker spot, just did what was required. I mean, it's that's what I mean. Like, when you're focusing in on one guy, you kind of notice everything that they're doing. Like, he just was exactly what the Nuggets needed, but he wasn't exceptional, wasn't unexceptional. He was. I give him a G.
I can't believe that was so bad. I can't believe I'm 10 years late to the Ryan Gosling refuses to eat meme. Love it though. I feel like I missed out.
Oh, you absolutely did. It tickled us in the early aughts.
This is like in college when I learned about Bob Dylan for the first time. I was like, how did I miss this? When AG notes.
His free throws in bad shape right now.
Oh, we should talk about this.
It just looks like he's all out of sorts at the line.
Yeah.
Man. He's His rhythm isn't there when he's at the free throw line. His shot looks a little messed up. I mean, that's the biggest question mark around AG right now, I think. It's like,
I agree.
is that going to cost Denver in a playoff game?
Is it his shooting shoulder, his right shoulder?
Yeah, maybe that's it.
Maybe that's it.
Maybe.
Since he came back, not from the dog bite, but the heel injury at the start of December, he went like a solid month shooting 72% from the line instead of 50. And
I feel like he's been streaky from the free throw line, and he's in a down spell right now.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's the shoulder, but you're right.
Could be the shoulder. That would be a little concerning. I do wonder, though. I mean, look, last year, same thing with the threes. What did he shoot? 39% in the playoffs?
In the playoffs, yeah.
It's all of this stuff. It's like Jokic shooting threes, Jokic being aggressive, Aaron Gordon making free throw. There's all these little markers that the Nuggets don't seem to really be concerned about in the regular season, but they've proven it in the past. So are you supposed to worry about it? Are you not? Aaron Gordon's free throw shooting is another one of those things that goes in that category, because right now I would be worried about it. If it was right now, I'd be like, that's a real Achilles heel. Just keep fouling AG.
Absolutely.
And then KCP, 10 points tonight. Look at his line. 10 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 steals.
Hell yeah. Plus 10.
Plus 10.
Beautiful finish on a breakaway layup.
In that
He
it
did?
finished.
And that it finished. Yeah, that's right.
It hung on the front of the rim for a second.
It sure did.
Do you have a KCP thought?
Yeah, just KCP doesn't really take games off ever.
Yeah.
I mean, we talk a lot about guys who rise and fall to opponents, and maybe his offensive production waxes and wanes, but his effort, particularly defensively, does not. Fighting screens, selling illegal screens, picking up 3 steals. D-line was all over it with that pregame bet. These are games where effort can win, and a lot of vets, especially around KCP's age, go, okay, the young guys will get us this one. But KCP always takes it upon himself to play with that young guy energy, and that's why he's always going to be impactful in games like this.
You know what else? Jordan Poole tonight. You know how many points he had? I just looked.
4 or something.
I didn't check.
4. But I mean, I knew he had a
Did he
quiet
really?
night. He had 4 points tonight. He
One
was
of
1 of 7 shooting. Somehow
He
not
probably
his low
doesn't
in the
mind.
season. He had 2 points against Cleveland earlier this year. He had 5 points against Brooklyn. He had 60 points against the Nuggets in 2 games of the playoffs. Anyway,
How does he get away with this?
can't keep getting
Some
away
of the
with it.
shots that Jordan Poole took tonight, how is he getting away with
I don't
this?
think he is getting away with it. I think that Jordan Poole, no one has lost more respect in the league than Jordan Poole. This
So
is
what I'm
true.
saying is we're almost halfway through this season, and he's still shooting these types of shots.
Well, but I mean, like, what is the alternative for them?
I don't know. Coach him.
Sorry, Wes Unseld Jr. going even down batter.
Jordan Poole and Zeke Nnaji are both going to make more money from basketball than like all but 4 presidents ever. You know what? Like will have made from their respective careers and lives and everything else. 2 filthy rich guys that
is
put up
insane.
some wild lines.
Dude, sports are in a weird place with money.
Sports are.
We're in late stage capitalism, big time.
Yeah, it's like, just be happy the players are getting the money and
Yeah,
not
that's
the owners.
true.
Well, everybody except Jordan Poole.
and it's nobody but the players and the owners. Sports Illustrated just closed.
There
It's
should
true.
be at the end of the season, we should make Jordan Poole play a showcase game, and if he scores over 30, he gets to keep his money, and if he doesn't, we give it away evenly to the people.
I agree.
You know, we
we
just kind of give it back.
Revenue
Like a-
sharing to
Yeah.
the rest of the players.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my God. All right, let's take a break. On the other side, not everything was sunshine and rainbows,
What?
you guys. There was a bench tonight,
Dang it.
and there were some guys
We
off
got to
that
talk
bench.
about the stench.
We do have to talk about the stench. The bench did is the stench. That is good.
That was pretty good, dude.
When you get hurt, Backus and Schenker is here to help. If you've been injured in any type of automobile accident, cars, trucks, pedestrians, give Backus and Schenker a call and don't pay them any money. Call them and don't give them anything.
To treat them exactly the
They
opposite
won't
of
ask
Zeke
for
Nnaji.
anything
Yeah.
because they only get money. You only pay them when they win your case. No upfront fees, no fees while they work on your case. Only when they win your case, that's when you pay them. And they've won over $1 billion for their clients. They've got neighborhood offices all over the place. Denver, Aurora, Englewood, Fort Collins. They got the strength and power to win your case. So give them a call, 222-2222 to find out if you have a case for free. Backus and Schenker wins.
I've been having so much fun watching these Nuggets games at the bar lately. Nuggets crowds are on a good run at our bar. But if I couldn't watch here, what would I do? I would break into Harrison Wynn's house and I would watch the Nuggets on Fubo TV, where there's 140 plus live channels of sports shows, movies, and news.
Just take his phone.
What's up?
Just take his phone.
I have it on my phone too.
Oh, it's on his phone. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll just steal your phone, dude. I'll stream live TV from any device, any of Harrison's devices.
You know what else I watched on Fubo? Fargo.
Yeah, dude.
Hey.
Because you know, to admit this, I actually just recently cut Comcast,
It feels so good.
I know, because I had both. I just ended up going with both like a total idiot. Just a write-off at the end of the year. But I finally cut Comcast because I was just so sick of them. I had somebody in my mentions tonight, total dork, because he's in an egg name or whatever, and it was like, oh, I couldn't watch the game on my Comcast, and I'm like, dude, we're 5 years into this. You need to learn how to adjust because the market has changed. But I watch Fargo. Love Fargo, man. It's on there too.
You could watch Fargo. You could watch the
Fargo.
Colorado
Shout out
sports
Fargo.
for the lowest price.
Thought it was a good season.
And like Adam said, a lot of people might have a lot of questions how to watch the most Colorado sports these days, and you just tell them with Fubo TV, most sports, lowest price. I like that. Go to www.fubotv.com/DNVR. That's us. Sign up, get 15% off your first month of Fubo Pro.
I'm glad Fargo exists. It's one of those shows where I can't believe there's a full audience for it. You know what I mean? Like something, because nowadays everything has to find the wide appeal. That one to me, like I love it, but I don't recommend it to people because I'm like, you have to like this type of thing, and if you don't,
Well, we're in an area where you're allowed. Everything is now niche.
yeah,
there's
but
such
this is like a
splintered-
big budget, though. You know what I mean?
Well,
It's-
I bet it's not as big as you think, but you're right. Like,
You know what I'm watching?
what?
Traders.
Oh.
Have you seen that?
I've never even heard of it.
It's a
With a D or an AIT?
Trade
Tours.
Okay,
Trade
Traders.
Tours.
Okay.
It's like a Big Brother, but with like C and D list celebrities. Yeah.
You're watching this?
A
It's so
reality
good,
show.
man.
When's
You
your
know,
big
you know who's
reality
on
guy?
it? Michael Jordan's son and Larsa Pippen.
What?
Yeah.
Sounds like my nightmare.
Winnie
Yeah.
loves junkie TV, dude.
Dude, I love trash TV.
Yeah.
man.
It does, yeah.
It's great.
I bet you love
And they're
that
competing for like 250K.
Yeah, I bet you love that bench stint.
Oh, you got to watch Traders, Kale. You got to
Oh my
watch it.
God.
Like a couple guys from the Challenge are on it.
Give us your show recently, just so everybody gets to know our shows. Sometimes it gives your personality. What's your show?
I'm very excited about the new season of True Detective as well.
It looks
I watched
intriguing.
the first-
They always look intriguing, though.
Yeah.
I watched
Yeah.
the first episode was very good.
It's already out?
Yeah, there's the only one episode out. There's a next one tonight. I'm
Might watch it
Also
tonight.
just finished season of Winter House. Summer House coming. Shout out Andrea, my guy.
You got one you want to go
Big
shout
Nuggets
out real quick?
fan,
Just so
Andre
people get to
Denver.
know Vogt?
It's like the I think you should leave sketch. I was like, I know I have one. I have one. I should have one. I don't have one.
You don't have one?
I don't have
All
one.
right, well, there you go.
I watch a lot of Braun.
Let's talk about the bench. So, this is not the game to complain about because there's no complaint. This isn't complaints, but it is observation that tonight the bench had 12 points. 12 points. 2 for Zeke, 2 for Peyton, 3 for DeAndre, 3 for Reggie, 2 for Christian. I thought Peyton was good tonight. Like, he did some stuff defensively. You know, I thought he was fine, although I do worry about him not touching the ball a lot. Remember, I've been saying this since they've gone back to the Murray-Reggie duo. It just feels like Peyton doesn't even touch the ball. He had 1 of 2 shooting tonight, so that's something to monitor. But at the same time, I look at it and I go, nobody scores on this bench still, man. Is this a concern? I mean, it's the Wizards. They weren't scoring on Kispert and Shamet and Bagley. Like, Bagley's the worst rim protector in the NBA.
yeah.
It's not encouraging, but like if you're worried about what it looks like in the big moments, you just look at last game.
Yeah, that's true.
And the bench
The
is like
salt
just
is
they
they
just
don't
cut
play.
it. They just don't play, and that's just kind of it. Like
Yeah.
The thing though is when you've got Jamal out there with the second unit, Reggie has lost some of his shine because he's just not getting as many opportunities as he got earlier in the season when he was the only point guard out there with
Yeah.
the second unit. And like if somebody is going to score 10 plus a game, if somebody's going to score double digits off the bench, it's Reggie. You know, Peyton will get there a couple games. Maybe you'll get the Christian Braun 10-point game. But if Reggie's playing, 20 plus minutes, there's a good shot he gets 10 points. But if Jamal's out there as well, he's not going to have those same opportunities and just not going to be in the same rhythm and not have the chance to get in the same rhythm either.
You know what I think? I honestly think this, and I might have said this on the show already. I don't remember if I did or if it was just a thought I had. But I wonder if old guys are not good in the middle of the season. LeBron James, awesome to start. Can't believe he's still doing this. I had a theory he's going to play forever. He's actually reverse aging. Now he looks old again.
Now he's just regular aging.
Steph Curry, all the way up until December, career year. Highest PER of his career, shooting 48% on 12-3. Like, unbelievable. Since then, he sucked. I just wonder if Reggie is, like everybody feels good when the training camp's over. They're like, man, I feel healthy. I feel the best I've ever felt. And then it's like, oh, no, I feel old now.
It's the old dog days, man. The old dog days. We're in them. That's exactly what it is. It's exactly what it is.
It's the old dog days. You're right.
For this.
Reggie's had like 2 very different seasons. Like early on, it was like, oh my God. Remember we were going to start a whole campaign for him to be the 6th man of the year.
Oh, it was really Aaron Gordon starting that campaign.
But do you remember? Can you imagine tweeting that you think that Reggie Jackson is the 6th man of the year right now?
That would have come up. That would have been a little tough to.
But that's kind of the Reggie Jackson experience and story. I think most teams that have had Reggie have had weeks or games where you go, hang on, could this guy start for us? Like, what's happening? And there are also games where he doesn't look very good. He has fallen out of some talented rotations in the past. I'm not all of a sudden out on him or anything. Reggie, like, consistency for the level that he was playing at, if that's who Reggie was, he wouldn't be on the Denver Nuggets. So there's just a little bit of, it's okay to expect him to be better and want him to be better, and he hasn't been. But I also prepared myself for the other shoe to drop when he was playing so well without Jamal.
Let's get to the real story, though. And then Christian Braun. We got to talk about Christian Braun. Because, look, he did the other stuff tonight. 6 rebounds, 2 assists. He had a block shot as well. He was a game worst -9. And a lot of that was his offense, man. It's just so frightening. Even his defense tonight, he was getting... There were plays that he got scored on and even fouled guys on. It's like... I just don't remember that happening last year. I remember him being a better defensive player. So I feel like even his defense has struggled. His offense... Of all the guys that we just mentioned, whatever, like you said. But Christian's the one where I'm like, I'm just waiting, man. I'm waiting for that stretch of 5 good games in a row.
Yeah.
Wasn't tonight.
It's just been a disappointing season from him. It has. He hasn't taken as big of a step offensively as I thought he would. And the bigger disappointment is his defense has slipped. He was hands down, I thought, the best defensive player on the Nuggets last season, pound for pound.
Truly.
This year, he's clearly not. This year you'd have to put KCP ahead of him. You might even put Peyton Watson ahead of him.
You definitely would.
He's not in that conversation, and that to me is the bigger disappointment.
The one thing I will say is, like, Michael Malone wants to get Peyton Watson or not, Christian Braun going. He left him in for an extended period of time. He left him in favor of Michael Porter Jr. for like a long stint, and I took note of it. Of like, okay, like Michael Malone like wants to get Christian Braun going because he recognizes how valuable he is to this team. He recognizes that there is going to come a time where you do need that Bruce Brown replacement. You do need that guy that's going to just do all of the intangibles, all of the things that are gritty, the things like Pete Watt talked about, things that other guys don't want to do. And he looked to get him a little bit going tonight, and with some success. I mean, it's bizarre, man. The way that I always evaluate players is when if you're improving, like I'm in. Always. Like if you're moving forward, I'm in forever until you stop. And he's kind of stopped, and I'm starting to get a little bit nervous about Christian.
Yeah, it is very concerning right now. How many games last year did he not play in the playoffs? Do you remember off the top of your head?
Like 1 or 2.
There's only one he completely did not play.
Yeah.
And then there were
a couple where he played, first half minutes and then not in the second half.
So he only had 3 games. One was did not play. And then he had 2 games where he played under 5 minutes. Every other game he played 7, 21 or more, which to me is one full stint, but usually that's even 2 stints. 7 minutes, he wasn't playing 7 straight minutes. Like that was 2 stints from him. So 3 out of 20 games. if the playoffs started right now, how many games would you predict he would play 7, 21 or less if the Nuggets played 20 games all the way? I mean, again, if they played 20. More or less than 3?
I mean, the fact that we even have to think about that is kind of scary.
The one thing is he would probably be playing with the starters more, so maybe he looks. You're not care if he
think
scores
he'd
or
play
not.
more. I think he'd play more, but he's not so far removed from the possibility
all.
of playing in the first half and not playing in the second half. We just saw that against the Celtics.
Yep.
So it's a little scary that he's still in that territory where that could happen in a playoff game. He shouldn't be in that.
What's funny is last year he only had 6 games where he scored more than 3 points. So even though he was playing, it wasn't his offense. And I do feel like I wish I could see consistently his defense, because I do feel like his defense has slipped a little this year.
Yeah.
I wish I could see a handful of games of that, because then it'd be like, okay, remember last year he had 14 games where he scored 3 points or less. That's more or less what he get just for being on the court for 8 minutes.
That's the craziest part, though. Like, I don't understand how your defense slips.
I don't either.
I don't get it. I don't
it's
know
just
what has changed.
a loss of focus.
Yeah, I
guess so.
That's the only thing it can be.
I will say at least he grabbed 6 rebounds tonight, which led all bench players. And to me, that's,
Some of them were big too, like contested rebounds.
and that to me has felt like a controllable factor that I wish Christian would seize. Like there's been some musical chairs with the bench, and when is he going to get shots that aren't just wide open threes? That's all fair. But I feel like last year there were 2 to 3 rebounds a game that seemed important that somehow Christian came out of nowhere and got.
He made more plays last year.
Yeah.
The only one that's making plays defensively now is Peyton Watson.
Yeah,
Christian
you're
Braun is
right.
just kind of like there. He's in the way. He's not playing poorly, but he's not making any plays.
You're right. It was the plays. It was just doing stuff, coming up with
Diving
something.
for a ball, getting a steal.
Right.
The rebounds do fall in that category
They do.
tonight, but you're right. There were other plays where he gave up layups or gave up and what, and you're like, come on, man, you can't be giving. It's the guys that aren't that impressive of players. So he's a storyline. Look, it's halfway through. A sophomore slump is real. It's only halfway through the season. I think there is a good story ahead for Christian Braun. Should he bounce back, I think that would be a good story. But at the moment, that's what we're banking on. The real sad sack story for the Nuggets is that tonight Zeke Nnaji got Malone dusted him off the shelf. It had been a while. And look, this is a tough place to be for Zeke, in my opinion. I'm trying to set this table here to give him some grace. It's hard to not be in the rotation than to just get a shot and know I got to go out there and do something. I thought that first illegal screen, like he gets a lot of illegal. He probably leads the NBA in illegal screen fouls. The first one I just thought was a tough call against him. The other 2 were not. This was so bad that Malone didn't trust him. To say that he's out of the circle of trust, that's an understatement. Malone now giving him minutes almost feels like, is there anything he could do now? Let's say Malone gives him another stint next game. Is there anything he could do that would earn Malone shot? I feel like he's indebted in trust right now, like 10 games. He would need to have 10 great games just to get back to even.
Yeah, he'd have to have a good game. He has to play a good
Just
game.
one?
Well, he has to. That's where it starts.
Yeah.
Like he gets the opportunity. He doesn't play a good game. He had a couple good moments, but they were bookended by just bad moving screen, bad shot, defense effort. Like it sucks. I hate this. Like
I would say tonight it felt like Zeke was distracting almost. You know what I mean? Like it's now to the point where I think before it was, is it Zeke? Is it DeAndre? We got DeAndre. We go to him. It almost feels like Zeke's out there. Oh, we're going to do the Zeke minutes now? And that sucks, man. I feel bad for Zeke because I feel like it's so hard for him to come back from this.
It's going to be tough for him to come back for this because I'm sure the Nuggets looked at this and said, all right, we've got the Wizards. They're small off the bench. They got Bagley coming in. This is a good chance for Zeke. This is a clear Zeke spot on the schedule.
Yep.
And the fact that he did not come back in the second half was
jarring.
Was very jarring. It was alarming, and it made me wonder. I have no idea when we see Zeke Nnaji again. I'd be stunned if he played again on this road trip. They've got the Pacers and Knicks left. There's no way he's playing against either of those two teams.
Right.
You got the Thunder after that. I mean, I would not be surprised, if I could see a scenario where this is the last we see of Zeke Nnaji this season.
What do they do, though?
That was as bad as tonight was. The fact that he could not come back in second half against the Wizards, I would not be totally shocked if the Nuggets just don't go to him the rest of the season.
Do you think that means more DeAndre Jordan minutes, or are we going to...
I think the same that we've been seeing, like where it's a mix, where sometimes they go to Aaron Gordon, in a big game.
Oh, man.
Or in a big second half, if this or that, but it's probably just default. I mean, tonight was... I don't think they went to him for matchup reasons. I think they went to him because it was the Wizards.
Yeah.
And they were like, Malone just felt... Tonight felt like Malone was like, it's safe, training wheel zone. Let's give Zeke a chance to earn his way back into the rotation. And again, it's such a short chance. He played 4 minutes tonight. That's why I say it almost feels... Or 5 minutes. It almost feels like a distraction because you can't expect Malone to give him more than that.
Right.
But yet when they give him minutes that it's all a test, right? That it's like, hey, don't screw this up, don't screw this up. Ooh, 3 fouls in a row. Out.
And look, like Zeke Nnaji, he's not this bad of a player. He's just not.
Yeah, he's not.
He's not as bad as he's shown this season. He's been in a tough spot. He hasn't gotten a long rope. Like, he hasn't had the trust of the Nuggets and the coaching staff. But what happened tonight was damning.
Yeah, and that's all well and good, but I think we're probably all on the same page that even if he does come back and play this season, how confident are you that it's just going to look different at any point?
Yeah.
Because I'm almost at a 0.
That's what I mean. He's over the hump. It does feel like he's over the hump. That sucks, man. That's a tough spot to be
under
in.
the hump.
He's under the hump. Nonetheless, let's pick ourselves up. 113, 104.
Oh, they won. That's right.
Oh, hold on, Kel.
Dust ourselves off.
Kel, can you bring up the Jokic shot chart one more time? Just because I feel like we
need,
almost...
Oh, man, look at that.
Oh, that's
Guys,
beautiful.
Honestly, look at this. Jokic had 2 baskets outside the restricted area tonight. The restricted area, not the paint. They were all in the paint. The restricted area, and they were toe on the restricted area. One of them.
Looks like a delicious bunch of Concord grapes, doesn't it?
It does look like Concord grapes. You're right. What do you think it looks like there, Vogt?
I hadn't thought about that, but I think he's right.
Blueberries, I'd say.
Target practice from a very good sniper. All right, let's go to our Super Chat, Scaly Song.
Astray took the L, so Adam suffers with me with a $2 chat.
You took an L?
He said the Nuggets would lose this game.
Oh, that's right. There you go.
Tough L,
Hell yeah,
man.
I'll suffer with you.
Tough.
Why did you think the Nuggets were going to lose?
Because you, in your mind, you think letdown game, and then you don't realize how bad the Wizards are.
Yeah. It's also, most letdown games, you still win them. You just look
And
terrible.
actually, the Nuggets played exactly like they should have played.
This is a game like if it was happening in like November.
Yeah.
We should have.
We would be nervous about it. It's like this.
We should have pre-recorded big takeaways tonight.
That would have been hilarious, just to see how we did. Honestly, this was not a grades game. This was a pass-fail class. The Nuggets. They didn't
Yeah.
underperform. They passed.
Yeah.
They didn't get a B. It's passed.
Jokic got
CJ
a
Jones,
A+.
$10. Sicko Crew representing all the way from China.
Hell yeah.
Those MVP chants from Jokic for Jokic from the Washington crowd. Absolutely
Didn't hear those, so that's awesome to know that happened.
Give me a pair of those 361s, please.
Yeah, ship them over here.
Jamal never beating the allegations. Also, I don't know if you guys hear the comms, but Marlowe, as great as he is up to about 348 wrong player names this season. Tough scene.
We didn't have the
Shout
audio
out
tonight.
to the Colorado Sportscaster of the Year.
Yeah, that's the Colorado Sportscaster of
Chris
the Year. That's our
Marlowe.
guy Marlowe. We got to get him on the show when the Nuggets have their home
Big
stand,
dub for the
man.
Sicko,
I love
says
Marlowe.
Eno.
He's the best.
Parth Kotak. Craziest jerseys I saw tonight at Capital One Arena. Nuggets Jawan Howard
That's-
number 5.
Hell yeah.
And an Enos help me out, guys.
Radovojic.
Radovojic Partizan
Radovojic,
jersey.
yeah.
Love Nuggets fans and this team and DNVR.
That's awesome.
Jawan Howard, number 5.
Yeah, man, that is a deep cut.
That is a that's where you're like, man, I gotta wear a jersey, and you got burned so bad that you're like, I can't get rid of this thing.
The Lions Lions fans were so unprepared for this moment that one guy, very passionate fan in the bar tonight, just grabbed his Detroit Red Wings jersey. He's like, F it. What do I got?
I've been that guy where you're like, oh, man, I'm going to a baseball game. I have a Boston Red Sox shirt, and the Rockies and the Mariners are playing.
And you're not the only guy wearing it at the game.
Dude. I'm just like, I need to show that I understand what baseball is.
Jeremy J. Rock, Mikhail. Best best starting five in the association. Go Nuggets.
Man, you know what? Maybe on tomorrow's show we'll talk about that. The contender there, because there's a lot of good 5-man lineups in the NBA this year. A lot of good ones. One won a title last year.
Well, yeah.
But
one is the best assembled this century, I've told.
Which one is that? Oh, the Celtics are starting 5 this century?
Wilkie. On the way home from Capital One Arena, let's go Nuggets.
Let's go.
So happy I got to see Jokic's season high with my father. That's lovely.
Man.
That's wholesome. Love the show. Y'all are the best.
You're the best,
you're
man.
the best, man.
Well, that was so
you're the
wholesome.
best. Shout out Pops.
Going to a game with your dad.
Oh, an OG. Look at this.
$20 from an old homie, David East, who's back east. DeAndre Jordan, appreciation super chat, was at the game tonight, and we all don't appreciate enough what he brings to the culture. He was everywhere for the fans. He even threw a piece of candy to my son, and then rocked the hang loose.
So DJ does this, and you got the candy. That's actually a dope thing. That
cool.
almost becomes a little side quest of going to games. Get the candy.
We need to start calling him, by the way, David Literal East now.
Literally East.
David East Coast.
David East.
David East Coast.
David East Coast bias.
James Jimmy. Nuggets' biggest issue is Malone insisting on playing Jamal with Reggie. Takes away Reggie's strength and takes shots from Watson's development.
Honestly, might be something to that, but it's not going away, and the Nuggets need to figure it out, and won't matter in the playoffs.
Won't matter at all.
Won't matter at all in the playoffs.
We saw Peyton Watson really rise to the occasion when we saw a true playoff rotation against the Celtics.
Which was awesome. I'm still basking in the afterglow.
Dude,
of
that's
all
what
of
I
that.
mean. Like,
have you? Oh, you were in here. Do you want to give that before we get out of here? Do you want to give your Boston Celtics takes? Let's throw away this game, which fun in many ways. Let's go to the game that was supremely fun and rewarding. What did you think?
It was fucking amazing. What a great game, dude. That game like erased so many terrible games earlier in the season.
Yeah.
That game was the game that mattered more than anything, and it's like most telling of where the Denver Nuggets actually are. No other team in the association has been able to go in and beat the Celtics on their floor, and they did it in a way that was so convincing. I mean, it wasn't obviously a big gap in the score, but it was. I did not feel as though the Nuggets were going to lose the game going down the stretch in the way that I was nervous about it with the 76ers. Like I said in the pregame show, like that loss against the 76ers engaged something deep in the Nuggets. It like reawakened who their championship snarl, and their back, their spine stiffened. They did exactly what they needed to do. And you can't win a championship shooting threes unless you're the goddamn Golden State Warriors. The Celtics are so dumb.
They're so what?
Dumb.
Oh, dumb. I thought you said done. I was like, wow, we're counting them out already?
No, they have structured their team in a way that is deeply unsustainable. And the live by the three, die by the three, it happened in that game. That's exactly what's going to happen to them in the playoffs.
My hot take here, do you have something you wanted to build on that?
Oh, just that Tatum was 4 of 17 tonight from the field. Derek White, by the way,
not again. We're not doing it.
I'm just telling you.
Yeah, those are just stats. I will say, man, people always talk about coaching in the NBA as if it's X's and O's, and it is part. Missoula is like, part of why the Celtics liked him, and part of the reason that there was like momentum behind him as a future coach is he's a very Morey ball player, right? It's like, how are we going to make the Celtics better? We're not shooting enough threes. We're going to do all this. Yeah. And even as a guy, he almost reminds me, who he reminds me most of is Mike McDaniel. He kind of has a Mike McDaniel-ness to him. It's where he's a little
like,
nerdy.
That's so sick.
Yeah, he's like leaning into the like nerdy, because it's almost like branding. He's branding himself as the analytics nerd guy that is like solved basketball and he knows more than you do. But why I bring up coaching is I feel like the longer I cover this, the more I feel the real value of a coach is instilling a identity and culture to you. And this is why the Nuggets are Michael Malone's team.
Yes.
They are tough. They are kind of pissy. They have like this to them. And I just look at that Celtics team and I'm like, oh, they're led by a Morey ball guy, are they? Yeah, clearly. Because that's what they are. And they beat teams a lot by 30 points because they went 20 of 39 from 3.
Yeah.
And they were beating Denver because they were like 10 of 20 from 3. And the moment that went away, you saw just this like weakness to them. And I just feel like Denver sort of undressed the Celtics in that way as a team of like, they're really good and they can beat you. But they are also, like, if you could strip that away, they're also not that. And I just feel like that's why I'm with you.
And the Nuggets
are,
game.
And the Nuggets are both. Like, the Nuggets can beat you with, oh my God, they're scoring exactly how they want every time down. But they can also beat you with, like, we got to get in the gutter right now and pull our teeth from the cement. And they can do that too.
Also, if Jokic ever mid-post faded away on Reggie Jackson in the fourth quarter, dude, I would walk home.
Yeah. This might be a little hyperbole, but Nuggets could go 0-38 the rest of the season.
Oh, please don't even say that. They might do it.
And I would still have confidence in them winning the championship after the Boston game.
The Nuggets are going to pull the plug earlier every single time. This year, we're like, they're not going to do that this year. This year, they pull it actually January 21st.
That Celtics win was all I needed to see.
I couldn't possibly agree more.
Now, they would probably miss the playoffs if they went 0-38, but you get my point.
Like, we miscalculated this a little bit.
You're right. They do need to win a few more games.
I was running the math.
They play the Wizards again, though, right?
Oh, so that's 1-37?
They definitely get that. Hit the outro music, Kale. I will say this, and I said it on the show. I don't. You might not. I wish you were here that one. Because this bar was unbelievable that day. It was the best day of the season so far to be at the bar.
That is the other thing, is that the denizens of Denver, Colorado have really looked themselves in the face and realized that football is indeed over. And it is time to totally turn the page.
Realized it right now?
Yeah, because you can like draft off other players. It's like really like it's becoming true Nuggets season.
It really is. Nuggets and Avs season. And I'm just telling you, there was, to your point earlier, I don't know if you guys felt this way. In years past, even in the playoffs last year, Lakers fan in the bar for the playoffs, and you're a little mad, you're a little annoyed, like, what's that guy doing here? What an asshole to come into a place where it's all Nuggets fans to be the one guy. Now, watching that game, I'm kind of like, what an idiot. Yeah. What are you doing here, man? Like, you're just going to get clowned.
What an idiot.
That's how again, everyone's welcome. I'm not trying to be too up, but I'm just saying, like, the guy that comes in here all Celtics down, like, I'm going to go mix it up. And it's like, no, you're just going to be humiliated at the end because Nuggets are definitely winning.
I'm going to make you raise your hand while I hand you a loser shot.
Don't be wearing your John Havlicek jersey here. Don't even think about it.
Go back to the good old days.
If I see one Bob Cousy jersey in this office,
we could go Hondo or who else do we get? Who else?
Right, if the Chief Robert Parrish is represented this bar even one time.
What about the microwave, Vinnie Johnson?
Oh, look, he got him ready to go.
75 years old.
All right, everybody. Thanks for hanging out with us on this game. The sickos were welcome in tonight's game, man. Not everybody watches a Sunday afternoon.
Is there anything better than the sickos?
No. Sickos are the absolute top people on earth. Thanks so much. Appreciate all the super chats as well. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
Let's go.
Throw us a like.
We all silly like the mayor.